Here she is. Willamette, Colorado. Population 53,594. Distinguishing characteristics? Jack shit.
Zombies have been portrayed in the media for eons, but the 90s and especially the 2000s were when they peaked. You had movies like 28 Days Later, Zombieland, George Romero had come out with Dawn of the Dead, the parody movie Shaun of the Dead, not to mention The Walking Dead, Evil Dead, oh, and don't forget I Am Legend. So it made sense that video games followed suit, like Left 4 Dead, Dead Island, Plants vs. Zombies, and Resident Evil. Although Resident Evil would go a multitude of ways, but I think it still counts as a zombie game. And speaking of Resident Evil, Capcom decided they hadn't made enough bangers yet, because here comes Dead Rising, the best zombie game ever made. So join me as I analyze and go through what made this game so special. Frank West, no relation, is a photographer-journalist traveling by helicopter into the epicenter of what he thinks are riots in Willamette, Colorado. As you can see, you can test out the photography mechanic, and taking good photos will award you prestige points. These points are used to level up, which is extremely important, but I'll get to that later. For now, we talk to this mysterious guy, Carlito, who seems to know an awful lot about what's happening.
Hello there. Huh? You're the reporter, aren't you?
Yeah.
You came alone.
Yeah, I'm freelance. You know, go on the battlefield alone, no crew. So, what's going on around here anyway?
You came by helicopter, didn't you? What did you see from the sky?
Well, if it were just a riot, I doubt the military would quarantine the entire area. The moratorium on information getting out is a little extreme, in my opinion. There's, something else I can't put my finger on. Doesn't sound like civil disobedience. It's too quiet.
Almost as if everyone's already dead.
Yeah. So why don't you just tell me already? What's going on?
I think you'd better see for yourself. This, my friend, is hell.
After talking with Carlito, you'll soon meet Brad and Jesse. They seem to be some form of police, however, they won't tell you anything about what's going on here. And for now, that's as much as I'll discuss the story. We'll get to that lore later. For now, I want to talk about the very specific way Capcom approaches the gameplay. So what Dead Rising is essentially a timed sandbox game. In the 3 days that you're waiting for the helicopter to pick you up, you can basically do whatever you want. Now obviously you're going to want to do the story missions and rescue the collectible survivors, however you don't really have to. The main story is case files, and if you miss any, you're going to have to catch it on the next playthrough. If you make it to the helicopter, the game starts over. If you die, the game starts over. And I know that sounds silly, however you have a leveling system, and this is where the game is genius. When you first start a fresh playthrough, Frank is weak, he runs slow, he has no skills, and you'll quickly get overwhelmed by the hordes of zombies. But as you level up, you'll begin to run faster, learn new moves, and overall you'll get better alongside the leveling system. And no matter how many times you restart, your level will stay the same and continue to grow as you explore them all. This essentially makes the game infinitely replayable. Don't feel like playing the story and just want to level up and explore? Then do that. Want to see how fast you can rescue all the survivors? Sure. And speaking of survivors, I will say that they're mostly well done. You get prestige points for simply convincing them to go with you, which is good because it's really hard to rescue them. So it's worth a shot to at least talk to them and try to escort them back to the safe room. However, the AI for them is god-awful, so prepare to slaughter every zombie in the way there, or risk them dying along the way. This is why you need to level up to actually progress in the game. Kill zombies, explore the mall, try and complete what story missions you can, and along the way kill the bosses known as psychopaths, humans who take advantage of the vulnerable situation and, well, they're psychotic. Carlito being the first one you'll come into contact with. Actually, however, when you beat him, you don't kill him like the others. The game is expertly designed to induce replayability and give the player as much freedom as possible. If you think you can in this game, you most likely can. Thinking about running on the treadmill? Well, you can, and it'll give you prestige points. Or hitting the punching bag, or picking up that weird object and seeing what it does, or jumping on that ledge to avoid the horde or to look for rare weapons and items. The world of Dead Rising is your proverbial oyster, just waiting for you to explore it. This is a method lost within some of Dead Rising's future sequels, which I might cover later on against my best judgment. But now I want to talk about the combat. Of course, every object in the mall you occupy your time in throughout the game is usable. Guns are mainly for fighting the psychopaths, as they aren't fond of you getting too close to them. From basic handguns to shotguns, sniper rifles, and submachine guns, they're really useful against the bosses, especially when taking advantage of headshots. Eventually you'll know all the locations for them so well that you can find them and use them against the hordes, mainly the shotgun. There will be zombies carrying around these tanks that if shot will blow up, earning you a multitude of kills. Cop zombies have handguns. The tricky part is when aiming any weapon in this game, Frank will stop in his tracks, similar to Resident Evil 4 actually. But the combat is arguably the best part of the game. As you level up, you can start mauling the hordes with almost any item you see fit. The game has a multitude of weapons, from common household objects to skateboards, giant machine guns, whatever. Every time I think I've found and used every weapon, I'm surely mistaken. The atmosphere is also one of the biggest advantages in this game, so much so that Dead Rising 4 would attempt to put Frank West back in the exact same mall in the exact same town. I guess you could say it's just a vibe. The mall has many locations, including a grocery store for some reason. There's a gym, multiple bookstores, toy stores, a theme park. It really has everything. But that's not what makes the atmosphere of this game so great. No, this game gave me nostalgia and I never played it before making this video. I think Saints Row 2 has a very similar vibe when it comes to atmosphere. You know, the game has all these goofy quirks, but hidden within is an actual well thought out story. Now before I get into the story, I'll leave a timestamp so you can skip to my final consensus. If you haven't played this game or you think you might want to, I'd recommend just skipping past that. Alright, so Frank West comes to Willamette Mall to find a zombie outbreak. After speaking with Carlito, you go downstairs and see a woman who definitely looks related to him. But you got work to do. Some old man is freaking out, says Frank summoned him to Willamette. He'll be important later. And as you and the other survivors are gathering stuff to barricade the mall, this old idiot lady lets all the zombies in, trying to get her stupid dog on the other side of the barricade. You and 2 DHS agents and the janitor Otis weld the security room shut. This will be your safe room where you take survivors back and regroup with Brad and Jesse. You go to meet up with Brad when Carlito, of all people, is shooting at him, and you cover Brad and take down Carlito only for him to escape. You tell Brad about that old guy who's screaming at you later, and turns out Brad and Jesse are looking for him. So you go where you saw him last, and he basically tells you to fuck off until you can plan an escape route. The next morning you guys see security footage of Carlito dragging the old man, whose name is Dr. Barnaby, away. So you rush to save him. After another gunfight with Carlito, Brad is gravely wounded. So after saving Barnaby and regrouping at the security room, it's time to find Brad some medicine, which can only be found in the grocery store's pharmacy. But when you open the pharmacy, you find a psychopath that has kidnapped Carlito's sister, and he is the one who holds the key. And I'm not going to go over every psychopath, however, this grocery store manager has got to be one of my favorites. You fight him real good, and then this happens.
My My store. My store. Who will run my store when I'm gone? My store. My food. My sales. My customers. Have a nice day. Clean up! Register 6!
Back to the safe room, Brad is still out of it, and Jesse and Dr. Barnaby don't want you in on what's happening. So you go to try to find Carlito's sister. Except when you find her, she's on a motorcycle trying to kill you.
Wait, I've got to talk to you! You listen to me? I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to talk. Now, what do you know about all this anyway?
Are you a reporter?
After taking her down, she reluctantly agrees to work with you. Meanwhile, Dr. Barnaby has finally revealed that Santa Cabeza was a stronghold of a drug trade, and his wasps infected with the drugs turned everybody in Santa Cabeza into zombies. When you rendezvous with Isabella, she has a bullet wound that her psychotic brother put in her for asking to work with you. So Frank carries her back to the safe room so she can tell the real truth about Santa Cabeza. But I'll let you guys watch what happens next.
What is your name?
Isabella. Isabella Keys.
Well, Isabella, this is an emergency, so we'll skip the formalities and cut to the chase. Consider this an official interrogation. Tell me everything that you know.
Fine. I'll explain why all of this is your fault. There was no drug trade in Santa Cabeza. Just an American research facility. They were doing research on some sort of parasitic insect. Like a wasp. A wasp that turns living things into zombies. If you don't believe me, just ask the man who was in charge of that research. The head of the Santa Cabeza Livestock Research Facility, Dr. Barnaby.
Huh? Jesse!
It started! He's turning!
Hey! Oh, no, you don't!
I'm a zombie.
Tell me the truth, Doc. Were you conducting experiments with zombies?
Zombies? chance to reduce the cost of breeding. We accidentally made zombie livestock.
So the government's now in the zombie-making business. The whole story about the drug trade was a cover-up?
What do you know? We were trying to mass produce cattle. Do you have any idea how much meat Americans consume in a single day? That research was absolutely necessary!
One day, in my village, the people turned into zombies. Those damn wasps. They escaped from the lab. It wasn't long before they got to work. Some spread. The army was called in. They killed everyone.
Move. So, the terrorism is a retaliation for a cruel government cover-up. Sounds plausible. Or it could be some serious bullshit. In either case, we have to get out of here alive if we want to find out for sure.
We have to check if she's been bitten. Let me take a look. I'm a medical technician. I could be useful if you let me do my job. I know I have no right to ask, but please, let me help. If you don't get out of here, the truth dies with you.
All right. If allowing you to atone for you and your brother's scheme makes things go more smoothly for us, I'm all for it. Exactly what is this last resort talk all about?
Carlito said that he'd blow up the mall if he were cornered.
Damn! We've got a regular suicide bomber on our hands.
Worse than what you're thinking. The explosion would send parasitic larvae into the atmosphere.
He plans to spread zombies outside of the city? Is he insane?
If that bomb goes off, there'll be nowhere to run. The zombies will be everywhere.
He's planning to flood the area underneath the mall with flammable gas, then set it off. If you could take care of the bombs while the gas concentration is still low.
There's a chance we could stop the explosion. Let's do it.
So Frank has to find the bombs and get them out of the maintenance tunnel, all while Carlito tries to stop you, so Brad goes after him. Once Frank has all the bombs, he must move out of there as fast as possible. Meanwhile, Brad is having his final gunfight with Carlito. He majorly wounds him, but in the end he's defeated and left in a horde of zombies to be devoured.
Well, shit.
Frank, sounds like you took care of the bombs. How's Brad?
The bomb's over and done with. Brad went after Carlito.
Copy. Report back here, Frank.
Afterwards, Frank and Isabella go to Carlito's hideout to try to get into his computer. Jesse calls Frank, and after meeting up with her, you find out Carlito's been kidnapped by a crazy butcher. You save Carlito, but he's still dying from Brad's gunshot wound, and as he's dying, he gives you his necklace. You tell Isabella that Carlito's dead, and you give her the necklace. Turns out it gives her the password to his laptop. Jesse tells you the DHS headquarters refuses to help, and Special Forces is going to arrive to wipe everyone and anyone in Willamette Mall out, mostly to sweep the incident under the rug. Special Forces shows up soon after and tells Jesse she's the only one allowed to live. She turns into a zombie from being attacked by Dr. Barnaby and eats the Special Forces guy. So now Frank has no DHS connections and has to worry about Special Forces on top of the thousands of zombies. But whatever, we got a helicopter to catch. It's been 3 days, let's get the hell out of here.
I'll be damned. He's still alive. That son of a bitch made it. That must mean he got his scoop. I can't wait to get my share of the take. Woo! Yeah! All right, you just hang tight, buddy. I'm on my way. Huh?
Hey! 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 I'm over here!
I see you, buddy. I see you. Yeah, I'm on my way. Yeah, yeah, you did it. You did it. Yeah, yeah.
And Frank, depressed and disassociative, lets the zombies take him. Nah, I'm just playing, because Isabella comes and saves him. Only shitty part is Frank seems to be infected. So they make some antiviral zombie serum that stops him from turning, which would later be Zombrex in the future titles, and kill that asshole Special Forces guy and escape. Frank's a hero journalist who stopped terrorism, kind of. Yay! This will not have unforeseen consequences later.
What we do here is go back.
Now I think it's time for my final consensus. This game is a blast from the weapons to the boss battles, but don't get me wrong, this game is a challenge. It's hard, and the time limit hanging over your head is anxiety-inducing the whole time, which I personally liked more than I thought I would. The mall the game takes place in is literally packed to the brim with content, and I might have to do a few more playthroughs just to mess around some more. I had a bunch of fun playing this and would be interested in playing the other titles in the series if you guys are. Leave a like and subscribe if you made it this far, by the way, it would really help me out. But this game has passion, style, and is a work of art. Sure, the campy horror vibes aren't for everyone, and maybe it has some jokes that aren't that great, but it's brimming with character, and I can tell the developers had fun making this game. If you skipped past where I retell the story, let me say that it's not some Shakespearean Quentin Tarantino best story ever, but it's good and well thought out, which is why I left a spoiler warning in the first place. If I had to give Dead Rising on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it about an 8. The god-awful NPC UI is what dropped it those 2 points, by the way. But I had fun making this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Anyways, have a good night, lads.